Dear students, in this video, we are going to look at the biography of Akbar the Great. So, who was Akbar? He was the third Mughal emperor. That means the third emperor from Mughal dynasty to sit on the throne. So, let us see his biography. So, Akbar's grandfather Babur. So, Babur was Akbar's grandfather, and it was Babur who had established Mughal Empire. So Akbar was his grandson. So Babur had won first battle of Panipat in 1526, after which Mughal dynasty was established in India. So when Babur died in 1530, his son Humayun became the next emperor, and Akbar was Humayun's son. So when Humayun became the second emperor of Mughal dynasty, after that he came in conflict with Sher Shah Suri, Sher Shah Suri of Sur dynasty, and the outcome of this was that after a prolonged battle, that means Humayun and Sher Shah Suri were fighting amongst themselves. Babur was dead, Humayun was the next ruler, but Humayun came into conflict with Sher Shah Suri, and after fighting many battles, finally Humayun was defeated at the Battle of Kannauj in 1540, because of which whatever Babur had conquered and possessed in India was lost by his son Humayun. That means every territory, all the territories of Mughals were captured by Sher Shah Suri, because he succeeded in defeating Humayun at Battle of Kannauj, and this battle took place in 1540. So that way Mughal Empire was overthrown, and now Sher Shah Suri was the new ruler of Hindustan. Humayun fled out of India. Humayun ran away out of India to save his life, and was trying to go to Persia to seek help from his distant relatives. So Humayun was defeated by Sher Shah Suri. So he thought that let me go to Persia, because Persia was ruled by powerful rulers who were his relatives. So he thought that if they will help me, then I will retry to capture and become the emperor once again. So by this motive, he started to go to or move towards Persia. So when he was roaming, or when he was moving towards Persia, so Humayun was given shelter by Raja Veer Sal of Amarkot in Sindh province. So see, this is Delhi, this is Sindh. So all this region is desert, and here is Persia, Iran. Modern day Iran was known as Persia back then. So when Humayun was in Sindh, so during that time he was given shelter by the ruler of Amarkot. Ruler of Amarkot, his name was Raja Veer Sal, and it was at Amarkot that Akbar was born. So Akbar was born at Amarkot. Very important question. Under what circumstances Akbar was born? His father was not the ruler at the time Akbar was born. He was simply wandering, roaming in deserts with his wife. So Humayun was roaming in deserts with his wife. Wife was pregnant and was given shelter by Raja Veer Sal of Amarkot. That's why you will notice that when Akbar grew old, he respected Rajputs very much, because he was born in the palace of a Rajput ruler. He was born in 1542 AD. So when Humayun was moving towards Persia, that means Akbar was born, they again started their journey towards Persia. So when he was moving towards Persia, he was attacked by his half brother Askari Mirza. So Humayun, his family, his newborn son and his wife, they all were going towards Persia. Suddenly Humayun was attacked by his own brother, his half brother, step brother, known as Askari Mirza. So Humayun fled away to save his life, and Akbar was picked up by his uncle Askari and taken to Kandahar. So this Askari Mirza, if you figure out the relation, he is Akbar's uncle, because he is step brother of Humayun. So uncle attacked Humayun, his father. So father runs away, and the son Akbar, was taken by Askari, the uncle Askari, to Kandahar, because these people, Askari and all the other step brothers, they were still in charge of Kandahar and Kabul. Humayun was defeated. Humayun was defeated, but his step brothers, they still controlled Kabul and Kandahar. So what did these brothers do? They attacked Humayun because they wanted to end the chapter of Humayun so that they themselves could become the next emperor. But that did not happen. Humayun fled away, leaving behind Akbar. So Akbar's childhood was utterly neglected because he did not spend his childhood with his parents. He was taken away by his uncle. So detached from his parents, he did not get any literary education. So he did not get education because he was not living with his parents. He was living with his uncles as a child. So Humayun was united with his son Akbar in 1545. So after a few years, Humayun got back his son Akbar. How did he get back his son? When he attacked his brothers Askari and Kamran, defeated them and got back his son. Humayun appointed his trusted general Bairam Khan to impart military training to his son Akbar. So he got his son after 3 years, after a gap of 3 years. He had lost his son when he was hardly 6 months old. So now he got back his son after 3 years. So he ensured that he gets proper military training. Because he knew that after me, my son Akbar has to become the emperor. So he started giving him military training. So he appointed a general known as Bairam Khan. So this guy Bairam Khan developed strong relationships with Akbar. Akbar treated him with great respect. Almost he gave him respect equivalent to his father. So he loved him like his father, you can say, Bairam Khan. Very much respected by Akbar. So Akbar in his father's service. So let us see how did he manage to enter his father's. So Akbar was appointed the governor of Ghazni. So Ghazni is a town in Afghanistan. So when he was only 9 years old, he became the governor of Ghazni. So this is the starting of his military career, or you can say administrative career. Humayun married his son Akbar with the daughter of his half brother Hindal Mirza. So Akbar was married to the daughter of Hindal Mirza. Who was Hindal Mirza? He was a step brother of Humayun. So Hindal was very much loved by Humayun. So Hindal and Humayun, they you can say shared a very cordial relation, and Hindal died fighting for Humayun. So you can see Humayun had 3 prominent step brothers. So one was Kamran, the other was Askari, and the third was Hindal. So these two, they were fighting with Humayun, whereas Hindal, he was supporting Humayun. So that's why when these two brothers, they attacked Humayun, Hindal went to fight against them, and Hindal was killed. Hindal died fighting against Humayun's enemy. So that's why, to honor the memory of his brother Hindal, he married his son Akbar with the daughter of Hindal. Humayun managed to snatch back his lost empire in India when he defeated Sikandar Sur of Suri dynasty in 1555. So as we already saw that Humayun had to run away to Persia. So he was in Persia. He came back after 15 years and defeated the successor of Sher Shah Suri, because Sher Shah Suri was already dead. So when Humayun came back to take power or take back his territory, that time Suri dynasty was ruled by Sikandar Sur. So he defeated Sikandar Sur, thereby Mughal dynasty was re-established. So after Mughal dynasty was re-established, Akbar was made the governor of Punjab. Earlier he was the governor of Ghazni, but Ghazni was not part of Mughal Empire. That was in Afghanistan. But now the Mughal Empire is properly re-established on Indian soil. Akbar is given the next you can say opportunity or responsibility. He is made the governor of Punjab and is also declared as the heir apparent. That means Humayun makes it very clear that after me it is Akbar who is going to take the throne. However, Humayun could not live long to enjoy the throne of Delhi. So in 1555 he again took back the throne, but he died next year. Within a year of recapturing the Mughal dynasty, Humayun died. He died accidentally while coming down from the stairs of his library. That means Akbar was very small. He was hardly like 14 years of age, 13-14 years of age, because he was born in 1542 and his father died in 1556. So when Humayun died, Akbar was only 14 years old. And at that time Akbar was in Kalanor village in Punjab with his guardian Bairam Khan, because Humayun have appointed Bairam Khan to take care of Akbar. So wherever Akbar used to go, Bairam Khan used to be with him. He used to act like his guardian. So when Humayun died suddenly in Delhi, that time Akbar was in Punjab with Bairam Khan. So Bairam Khan declared Akbar as the new emperor because Humayun was already dead. So the throne could not be left vacant. And Bairam Khan was acting as the guardian of Akbar. So he immediately declared Akbar as the new emperor. So you have to remember the year, not the date, that Akbar became the emperor of India in 1556. So what happened immediately after Akbar became the emperor? Let's see. Realizing that Humayun was dead and Akbar was just a child of 14 years. That means when Akbar became the emperor, he was only a child, 14 years old. So Afghans came to know about this. Bairam Khan tried to hide the news, but this news reached the Afghan forces and they immediately became active. They thought that there is nobody to defend Delhi. Humayun is dead and Akbar was in Punjab. So this gave an opportunity to Afghan forces to immediately capture Delhi because the king was dead, Humayun was dead. So Afghan forces were led by their military general. His name was Hemchandra Hemu. Please remember this name, Hemchandra Hemu. So he was fighting as a military general of Afghans. Though he was a Hindu, but he was fighting from Afghan forces, from the side of Afghans. He was actually the prime minister of Adil Shah, who was the Sultan of Bengal. So all these were Afghans by ethnicity. So these were Afghans and hence they were natural enemies of Mughals. So the battle that Afghans fought to capture Delhi is known as Battle of Tughlaqabad, and it was fought immediately after the death of Humayun in 1556. So it was fought between Hemchandra Vikramaditya, that means Hemu, and Mughal forces. Akbar was not present in Delhi, he was in Kalanor, Punjab. So Mughal forces were led by Tardi Beg, a military general known as Tardi Beg Khan. So what was the outcome? The outcome was that Hemchandra or Hemu is commonly known as Hemu. So Hemu was victorious. Hemchandra managed to defeat the Mughals. Why? Because the main Mughal forces was at Punjab. Fine? Because Akbar was at Punjab, the emperor was at Punjab. Delhi was unsafe, Delhi was unprotected. So Hemchandra Hemu took control of Delhi and claimed royal status, because he took control of Delhi and he proclaimed himself to be the king of India, the new emperor of India, and he called himself Raja Vikramaditya. Who? Hemchandra Hemu. Who was he? He was the prime minister of Adil Shah and had come to Delhi to fight the Mughal forces. So Akbar was at Jalandhar and was watching all this drama. So Akbar was not at Delhi at that time, he was at Jalandhar and he was watching the fall of Mughal control over his empire. Following his failure, Turdi Beg was executed by Bairam Khan. Who was Turdi Beg? Turdi Beg was the general who got defeated by Hemu. So, as a result of defeat, he was given punishment. He was executed. That means he was killed. As a punishment, he was killed by Bairam Khan. So, these two armies. So, the chapter is not over. Hemchandra Hemu, he managed to capture Tughlakabad, but once again he will attack Mughal. Because just by occupying Tughlakabad, you cannot control the Mughals. You have to completely defeat them. So that's why the two armies, which two armies? Army of Hemu and Akbar, they would meet again at Panipat. So Panipat is a very historical place. Already first battle of Panipat has been fought here. First battle of Panipat was fought by Akbar's grandfather Babur. Now the second battle of Panipat is going to take place. Second battle of Panipat is going to take place between Akbar and Hemchandra Hemu. So let's see what was the outcome of that battle. So Bairam Khan decided to challenge Hemu, and Akbar was also of the opinion that let's not sit quietly, let's attack Hemu. He is destroying Mughal dynasty, he is attacking Mughal dynasty, then why should we keep quiet? Let's go all out and attack him. So as a result of this, the second battle of Panipat takes place. So as a result, the armies of the Mughals and the Afghans, they met each other on the historic battlefield of Panipat. Date not important, year is. So second battle of Panipat is taking place in 1556. Exactly 30 years ago, first battle of Panipat had taken place. So first battle of Panipat took place in 1526. After 30 years, second battle of Panipat is going to take place. So this is known as second battle of Panipat because one battle was already fought 30 years ago. So that is first, this is second. What happened in this battle? In the thick of the battle, that means while the battle was going on, an arrow stuck Hemu in his eye. So Hemu was hit in his eye by an arrow, as a result of which he fell unconscious in the battlefield and he was captured and killed. So this way you can see Hemu fell unconscious. So if the enemy falls unconscious, that means he lost the battle, and Akbar won the battle and recovered the throne of Delhi. Hemu was captured and beheaded. So the sun of Mughal Empire began to ascend in the political horizon of India. So this way Mughal dynasty's prestige is restored. For the time being, Hemu was attacking Mughal, Hemu was successful, but soon after the battle of Panipat, Hemu is killed, captured and killed, and after that Mughal prestige is restored. Now what happened after this? Still Akbar is only 14 years old. Please remember, Akbar is just a small child. He is born in 1542. The second battle of Panipat takes place in 1556. So he was only 14 years of age when he fought the second battle of Panipat. So it was actually Bairam Khan and not Akbar who was taking all these military and strategic decisions. Akbar was just a child. So he was under the guidance of Bairam Khan. So Bairam Khan, as the guardian of Akbar, continued to be the de facto administration of Mughal Empire. De facto means in a real sense, because Akbar was a child. He was not capable of taking big decisions. So it was actually Bairam Khan who was taking all these decisions, and hence he was the de facto administrator of Mughal Empire. So this made Bairam Khan arrogant and power drunk. So he began to act irresponsibly. He began to act arrogantly. So you saw that he killed Tardi Beg. Tardi Beg, just because he lost the battle of Tughlaqabad, he was killed by Bairam Khan. So this was the behavior of Bairam Khan. He became arrogant because by default he was the administrator. Akbar was a small child. So soon these things were no more tolerated by Akbar. So Akbar could not tolerate this anymore. So he thought that let me do something to get rid of Bairam Khan. So Akbar thought that if Bairam Khan will keep on acting like this, then who will consider me as emperor? Everybody will think that Bairam Khan is the real power holder. So let me do something so that I get rid of Bairam Khan. So he asked Bairam Khan to resign. He told Bairam Khan that you have served us for so long. So he told Bairam Khan that you resign or I am going to imprison you. So Bairam Khan was dismissed in spite of his lifelong record of loyalty. So he was very loyal towards Akbar, but still Akbar wanted to free from his shadows. Akbar wanted to take his own decisions. Akbar did not want to depend on Bairam Khan. So that's why he dismissed Bairam Khan from his service. So Bairam Khan was instructed to surrender all his powers and go on a pilgrimage to Makkah. So Akbar told him that I am not going to harm you. You simply move out of Mughal territory. You go somewhere else. You go to Makkah and spend rest of your life there. Do not interfere in my administration. So subsequently, he was killed on the way by some of his enemies in 1561. That means Bairam Khan now left Akbar. Akbar was alone. He was no more under Bairam Khan's guidance. So when Bairam Khan was going to Makkah, he was killed on his way by some of his enemies. So it's not clear who killed Bairam Khan. But the fall of Bairam Khan did not make Akbar all powerful. But it does not mean that just by getting rid of Bairam Khan, Akbar became all powerful. So in fact, Akbar became weak for the time being because his guardian, a shrewd diplomat, Bairam Khan was a great diplomat. So his services were no more available to Akbar. So you can't say that by getting rid of Bairam Khan, Akbar became powerful. So why it is said that Akbar was not all powerful? That means who was there to stop him? Akbar was actually under the influence of something called as harem party. What is harem? So in Mughal palaces, there was an exclusive sections where all the females used to live. All the females like queens, relatives of queen, all the female members of the families, they had a separate section in the palace. So that section of the palace was known as harem. So it means prominent females were living here. So one of the prominent females, Mahamanga. So Akbar, when he was a small child, so he was under the guidance of a nurse known as Mahamanga. So Akbar used to treat Mahamanga just like his own mother. So he used to respect Mahamanga very much. And Mahamanga, being a female, used to dominate harem. Harem is the section where all the female members of the palace were living. So Mahamanga used to dominate. So Mahamanga exercised great control over the mind of Akbar. So it is said that even after Bairam Khan is gone, you can't say that Akbar was free from all sorts of influence. He was still controlled by his nurse, foster mother Mahamanga. So this group of Mahamanga who was trying to influence Akbar is known as Mahamanga's petticoat government, because Mahamanga used to act like an empress. She thought that Akbar treats me like his own mother. So Mahamanga also started to act like, queen only. Mahamanga was Akbar's foster mother and Akbar was very fond of her. She acted almost as prime minister for a while, as her devotion to her foster son Akbar made her invaluable to him. So Akbar respected her so much that she started to act like as prime minister. She thought that I have full support of Akbar, so whatever I will say or do, Akbar is not going to get offended. So that was the main reason. Mahamanga had a son known as Adham Khan. So she wanted her son Adham Khan to become a big officer in Akbar's administration. So she was taking decisions and she was doing plotting and planning to make her son Adham Khan a high ranking officer. So she was obviously plotting and planning so that her son becomes a powerful officer. Adham Khan was filled with more pride than loyalty. So these people should have been loyal to Akbar, that Akbar treats them with so respect. But instead of being loyal, they were more full of pride. They used to think that Akbar is with us, so we can do anything we like. So this guy Adham Khan was sent by Akbar to Malwa in 1561. So Akbar asked Adham Khan that go to Malwa and fight the ruler of Malwa, who was Baj Bahadur. Baj Bahadur was the Sultan of Malwa. So he sent Adham Khan that your job is to go and fight a battle against Baj Bahadur. So Adham Khan went to Malwa. He defeated Baj Bahadur, but he did something unpleasant. So Adham Khan tried to capture Rani Roopmati, the lover or the queen, partner of Baj Bahadur. So this was against the rule of the battle, that you should not harm any female. So Adham Khan tried to forcibly capture this female, Rani Roopmati, who was the partner of Baj Bahadur. So as a result, Rani Roopmati committed suicide by poisoning herself. So Akbar did not like this event. Akbar thought that this is not a good way to, deal or behave. You should not behave in this manner, that if a husband is killed, then you should capture his wife. So that is not how battles are fought. So this made Akbar very much angry. So miffed, Akbar decided to punish him. So Akbar was very much angry and he decided to punish him. Adham Khan was thrown twice from the roof of the palace and dispatched to heaven. That means he was killed. There is one more reason behind this. So Adham Khan had won against Baj Bahadur. So he looted wealth from Malwa, but did not give it to Akbar. That means he kept it for himself. So when Akbar came to know about all these things, all the wrongdoings of Adham Khan, he said, enough is enough. Now I am going to punish you. And as a result, Adham Khan was killed by he was thrown from the palace, and that way he was killed. So a few days after the death of Adham Khan, Mahamanga was also dead. That means Mahamanga could not bear the tragedy of the death of his son, and soon Mahamanga also passed away. So this way you can say that now Akbar was free from any external influence. So he could act independently. He could act without hindrance. He did not depend on anyone else's advice. So from now on, Akbar was on his own. He used to take his own decisions. So from now on, you can say that there is a new chapter that begins in Akbar's life.